Varric Sand Castle. This is a castle we definitely want to reinforce. This is going to be sort of the southern buttress to the kingdom at the initial stages here. We've got to get to Oxhall. In fact, I think it's time to do some more rewarding here. Entho the Black. I think it's a perfect opportunity to hand out another fief. We can load up the garrison here to the south. In a way, it'll sort of buttress Entho's city. We will gift him Oxhall and make him a vassal within the empire here. And then the Baron has to head north, right? We have some business to take care of. Of course, if you are following the campaign closely, you know that the Baron has had enough of the Baroness. He has plenty of other women, and he does not appreciate people working behind his back against his kingdom. So we will make our way that direction. But I also want to do a few deeds on the way up there, right? The same thing that an army would do anytime you're in war. And of course, we're going to talk about a campaign strategy throughout this campaign. We're now starting to get to what I consider the nuts and bolts of a late stage campaign, where you are doing things like this, upgrading garrisons, putting food in stashes, things like that. And in fact, let's go ahead and make an intro right here. Welcome back again, friends, to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related. Welcome back to our epic Vlandian campaign, full of declaring war motherfuckers here, as Guzid the Great of the Aserai declares war on us. Now, Wazuban, I think, is still in prison. So that's interesting. Oh no, oh no! Joel Hall, brother, I barely knew you. Well, that was the risk, of course, of making, naming one of the older companions after one of our chief supporters. Marshal Sachs has died of old age here. Finally, he dies of old age, and Joel's like, no, he already died of old age. You just made me this guy. So Marshal Sachs has literally been around since I think the Baron was about level 7. Maybe level 5 or something like that. Very early on, the Baron recruited this scout crossbowman at a tavern, and incredibly, he's been with us the entire way up until this moment. Of course, now these characters are very old, with some time warp, obviously. About 30 years has passed from the beginning of this campaign until now, and unfortunately, we lost Marshal Sachs. What a pain in the ass that is. Now, this part is unavoidable here unless I just did a huge amount of editing. We're going to continue to do easy quests and pick up food along the way here. And we will do something for Marshal Sachs because he does so much for me personally with the channel. Runs the Discord. I really appreciate him being a resolute tactician in there. He's almost always available for a question, whether it's on mods or something else. I really appreciate it, Joel. However, I want to give a player clan here to this guy as well. Entho, you Pixel, I really appreciate you helping the Baron all those times. Nothing like narrating these live. I'm choking over here. Had some peanuts before we started playing today, and choking. Not penis, before anybody gets too alarmed. I'm not choking on penis. My wife always says peanuts sound like penis. I'm not choking on penis, if you guys are going to be LOLing in the comments. We're choking on peanuts here a little bit. And just like Marshal Sachs, we're at risk of dying here if I don't get some water here or something like that. Now, Dunglanis is going to fall. We're not going to be able to make it there, especially since the Baron has priorities. A couple of priorities out of the way here, buttressing the southern portion here. We'll take this guy, right, because we can turn this guy into another custom companion. I continue to browse all the notes, requests, etc., especially from the Patreon supporters for custom companions to get into the campaign. And obviously, we just take these tavern dipshits and then turn them into something more interesting. Now, I want to stick food inside all of the cities from now on, right? Every single chance I get, you're going to see me do this. We will talk extensively about campaign strategy, putting food, putting troops, giving them money. We don't have a lot of money, but that should change if the Baron can start winning wars. But first things first, right? We have a disloyal wife And back in the medieval era, when you had a disloyal wife, it was practically against your honor to let her survive. Lyanna has basically tried to kill the Baron, right? She has conspired with Wazuban to kill the Baron, his longtime scout and friend. You will learn more about Zhao Liang in this campaign. He's going to be an intricate character, another one of our Patreon submitted characters, a really interesting storyline. You guys have already probably seen a little bit in the cutscene. Zhao Liang tipped the Baron off that Lyanna was indeed fully treasonous against him. So we're piling up the armies here. Right now we're getting these player clans added. So the Baron's army is getting quite sizable. I would say it's going to be 1,500 plus once we can hit a few garrisons. So let's see, Ox Hall. We got to start taking over more territory here to give out more spoils. That's 3 player clans, right? We have George the Bandit King, the lately departed Marshal Saxe, and now Entho the Black. Rovault is on the list, especially because these dipshit Asurai just declared war on us. We don't have to hide anymore. The Baron no longer has to hide in fear from Wazuban, right? Because obviously they're aware. Either somehow Guzid the Great, will roleplay a little bit here, Guzid the Great somehow got word that the Baron was still alive, or for some other reason the Asurai have declared war. Yeah, she's at Tyrby Castle. The Asurai and the Sturgeons, it's going to be a problem in this campaign. Dunglanis is going to fall. Carbanthith will probably be under siege next, but the Baron can't wait, right? When you have a treasonous wife, the longer she lives, the worse it's going to be for you. Now, I haven't talked about Giselchild. Of course, you learned about the Baron's youngest daughter, right? Daliset. This is actually one of the Baron's children that is going to be part of the storyline. In fact, people who have watched some of the other campaigns on the channel are aware that Giselchild is Zuvan's spouse, right? Zuvan's wife. Of course, Zuvan is one of the most terrifying characters in this campaign. Here he's got a small army. He's kind of out of place, running away from the Baron. But Giselchild is the Baron's daughter and yet is married to one of his chief rivals. And incidentally, she's a complete savage on the battlefield. But first things first, right? Let's show Calradia here some true savagery and take out the main problem for the Baron at this stage, right? Lyanna, the disloyal. What is it? Snitches get stitches. Yeah. Or if you got bitches, dig ditches, something like that, right? That's the Baron's motto for this situation. Some things in life are inevitable. Not every good deed is repaid. Few sins are less forgivable than disloyalty. Lady Lyanna knew this all too well. But fear drives us to irrational actions, and the Baron was not the kind of man to be crossed. Lady Lyanna was at Castle Tyrby that night. But she was not unarmed, and she was not alone. But Lady Lyanna also had roving eyes, and her eyes saw more than the Baron knew. So that nasty bit aside, as Lyanna takes care of the Baron in her own savage way, you never want to underestimate women in this life, and says goodbye to the Baron, and we rejoin Hal and company here, and we have to say our goodbyes as well, as you cannot take minor clans with you when you leave a kingdom, and it's a little bit bittersweet, as Hal and his company, Hal, Rose, Isegund, Stupid Henry, and Rylan have worked really hard to form this army, form this group of companions. Now we're going to be able to take some of these troops, but of course you cannot take minor clans with you when you leave a kingdom. So effectively exiled twice, right? Hal here is being exiled by the Khazate leadership. They don't take kindly to him operating in the way he was. And of course, all of the siblings, all of these children of Baron York were exiled at the outset of this campaign. Now we can't leave the kingdom right now because it'll disband our army here, as Origer is at war with two of the biggest kingdoms in the game. It's not going to go particularly well for him, but we'll see how the diplomacy spins out in this multifaceted campaign, and this has really come together quite as I had hoped when I built this campaign in my mind, right? You have the children of Baron York in this side campaign. It was also a very effective way for me to combine a Khazate campaign without doing it all the way from start to finish, as the early stages of the campaign can be kind of boring, and I didn't want to subject you guys to that. As a huge army of the Asurai here looms up out of the horizon, that's sort of symbolic for this campaign, as massive armies continue to clash, and Hal and company. Hal, of course, watching the cutscenes, was contacted by his mother and is now heading north, hoping to rejoin with family. And we've got a very eclectic mix of troops, but it's distinctly Khazate heavy. And I'll say from the gameplay for this stage out, Hal and company are not going to be afraid to mix units in this campaign. Obviously, we're fighting terrifying enemies, hyper powerful enemies that are using ultra elite troops, and on some level, Hal, his sister, or both of his sisters and his brother are going to take advantage of whatever sort of falls at their feet as far as troops. Earlier, of course, the Baron was playing the nationalist, the racist, exclusively using Vlandian troops. It is true, we will continue to probably use Vlandian troops in this campaign. Now this is interesting, but I'm not going to restrict the armies going forward at this stage of what troops they pick up. Now, the Khazate gave the Asurai peace, so Wazuban is released finally from prison, and that does not bode well for the House of York. Obviously, once he gets out of prison and becomes aware that things are not exactly as they seemed, and not only has Lyanna basically pulled a fast one over him, but Baron York's children have now taken up his place. I'm sure he's not going to welcome those developments too well. And of course, this has been the plan all along. I was hopeful that it would be these four kingdoms. In the background, I did just a little bit of work to make this happen. In other words, when I played the Khazate, I would vigorously attack the kingdoms, either with Rylan or with Hal, that I didn't want to remain in this kingdom. Right, we attacked the Southern Empire, the Britannians, so that we could end up with these four monster powerful kingdoms, hence the title of this campaign from the beginning. A little bit of smoke and mirrors. Of course, we have these multifaceted campaigns. We're essentially playing two campaigns in one, and guys keep asking, are there mods and stuff like that? No, I'm a bit of a magician. And of course, I've got one more trick up my sleeve here. Hopefully nobody is on drugs right now, because this is going to probably trip them out as we take Hal and his Khazate force and meld our way in to House York. We'll just cross over, sort of an invisible timeline here, and the blue-teal of our Khazate flags fade away, and we assume the red snorting bull of the House of York as the siblings of Baron York return to their family. Now, How appropriate, right? The king of House York decision arrives almost as soon as Hal gets to the border. And I love you, George the Bandit King, but we're not going to make you the actual king for this campaign. You're a great contributor on Patreon, but not that good of a contributor, right? We're going to continue to roll here with Hal, and he becomes King Hal. Not exactly what I intended, of course, but when Ryland died, it seemed appropriate. And of course, anybody who's studied English history knows that there were a series of King Hals, whether we're talking about Henry VIII, or sometimes, I believe, Henry V is also sometimes called the Good King Hal. So this campaign continues to develop. Hopefully you guys have been thrilled watching this. Hal is now obviously in charge of House York, and the campaign is going to continue to get gnarly. Right, so that coronation now accomplished. Hal is now king of House York. He's with his brother and 2 sisters, army of 830, and we have melted in the companions of both Hal's and of House York into one army. And now what to do, right? I guess first things we better do here is we better orient ourselves. You guys are probably quite dizzy, quite confused. What the hell is going on here? And I, as the content maker, the magician, enjoy your mouths hanging open and your confusion to what is happening at this stage. Of course, Hal, Henry, Rose, they're all present, right? And we have, what's really nice now, of course, is we have an amalgamation army. Baron York, the previous armies of this House of York were fighting with almost entirely Vlandian units, and Hal here has a mix. We are still going to lean towards Vlandian units, but we now have some horse archers to add to the mix. Now we've got some companions, of course. Some of these Hal brought along with him, and some of these, of course, are inherited from the Baron. The Baron, of course, had some loyal companions. They are now loyal to House York and by default to Hal. Now we're going to put on the Baron's armor here. Maybe that's inappropriate, but it's really nice armor. And so Hal will happily take the Baron's elite armor. Of course, you guys met Dalisette. I introduced her in a cutscene. All the companions are here. Zeus isn't here. He's taking care of some business. Let's see, what else can we show you here? So Hal, of course, his full family tree is now present for you guys to gander at. Of course, he's married to Yesha, I guess we'll call her. Baron is dead. His brother Ryland is dead. Some other family members are dead. But of course, much of the family is still intact. That was part of the reason for the extraordinary priority put on making errors in the medieval era. Now the Aserai are still many times larger than ours and are demanding a huge tribute. We don't have the money, nor really the desire to have peace at this stage. Wazuban is probably furiously sending out emissaries, looking for the Baron, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And it looks like we've got a little bit of an overage here in some of the armies. Some of the policies might be different between the Khazate and the House of York. Or maybe this is just the exchange rate between the two. We've got to change some of the armies. Of course, Hal's army is larger now that he is king. And this part is beautiful, right? Hal has been fighting with all these insolent, irritable, sort of crusty, elitist Khazate lords. Suddenly, Hal is amongst friends here, or at least loyal devotees. In fact, check this guy out here, right? Of course, speaking of loyal devotees, right? Joel Hall running the Patreon. Marshall Sachs, his character, died of old age. I love how it says Hal has never seen him before. That makes sense, right? They never encountered each other. We have reincarnated you, Joel, or at least we'll call that Marshall Sachs's grandson is now in that clan. Of course, we have all the other important minor clans and player clans that are part of it. George the Bandit King, he's got his castle out there. But Karbanthith seems to be the priority. I think that's the Sturgeons sieging there. We need to get there as fast as we can. Of course, Hal's in a bit of a hurry here, looking for allies. This guy here still doesn't like us. We would happily take on more minor clans if they will join us, of course, because we are facing 2 juggernaut kingdoms. The Sturgeons are a major problem, and now that the Aserai have declared war, Guzid the Great You know Wazuban is coming as well, and we know there's a huge army just to the east at Legetta of some 3,000 plus, right? These are problems that loom over the horizon here for Hal. Let's form the army up here and let's start talking tactics. Let's start talking strategy. I guess strategy is first, right? Let's come up with a coherent kingdom strategy, and then once we're in battle, we will do some tactics, right? If you've never understood the difference between that, that's effectively the main parts of a campaign. You do strategy to move your armies into good position, and then tactics to move your troops once your armies are in place. Now we're going to order all these villages all along the way here to give us peasants. We need troops badly. Although Hal is now maxed out, we can at least give some of these troops to the minor clans. And of course, as usual, I'll try to spare you some of the details, but we've got to pick up food and goods all along the way. We've got a lot to do in a short period of time, as is common throughout medieval history. Anytime there was a succession crisis, although there's no real crisis here other than the fact that we're at war, everybody agrees that Hal is the rightful ruler. A typical succession crisis occurred when there were many different claims to the throne. There's only one here, right? Unless George the Bandit King hacks my YouTube account and tries to take over our shit, there's only one legit leader here, and that is King Hal. Now we got to sweep around here as these little armies join us. They should all catch up on the way north. And we've got a fucking cock-block Asurai force here. Man, they already have a force of 3,000 to our southeast. And here's a huge force heading to Varaxsand with 900 cavalry. That is alarming. So, Karbantsith is definitely going to fall if we don't get there. There's nobody else to help defend it. We have all the armies here, so this is the strategy part, right? What do you do here? This is a difficult decision, actually. We could try to loop around. I could go around the bridge here and get by this guy, gather a few of these armies, and then maybe we could loop around, but it also might fall. So no matter what, we're going to gather some of these troops here, and that is why. Holy shit, look at that army. Pause it if you need to. That is absolutely insane. 933 cavalry, 639 Vanguard Ferris. Thank you, Strength and AI mod. And incidentally, Joel Hall is the main reason we are using this mod. So I love you, brother, and I love to hate you as well. Shit. We've got multiple problems here. Look at this Asurai onslaught. They just declared war on us, and here they come, traveling to Ox Hall. So we're going to get trapped here unless we fall back. Let's see. The reinforcement system, of course, is still engaged. These armies are clearly close enough to engage us. I think we're fucked here as far as Karbantsith. That's just a casualty of war. The Asurai and the Sturgeons, in some respect, are allied with each other. We'll look at diplomacy later on. Of course, we'll talk about diplomacy later on. How are the Khazate going to... Yeah, they're already heat-seeking us. How are the Khazate going to fit into all this? We shall see. There might be some more cutscenes, right? I'm enjoying making these cutscenes. Shit, this guy's boring in on us. It looks like we'll be able to escape, but he's moving fast with all those cavalry. Fortunately, most of our armies just joined us, 2,200. It's approaching a contest here. I think we've got no choice, right? These armies are going to engage us, and worse, we can't just run forever, right? Varaxsand is 2 days north, maybe. 100 Consguards. You know what I think we do here? I think Hal makes his stand. It's going to be daylight soon. We've got almost 2,400 troops. We have a strong army, and we have a mixed army. So as a tactician, I finally start to drool in this campaign, because we have Banner Knights, we have Consguards, we even have some Fiend Champs. Of course, because Hal and his army didn't discriminate, although we did not recruit a lot of Varangians. That will probably continue to be just a difficulty rule that we establish. We make it basically that they're Norse units that we're not really entitled to use. There might be some that slip through the cracks here. Craps? They also slip through the cracks and make their way into our army. I want a decreased ranged damage because we're going to get hit with ranged. And here we go. That's gonna allow Hal to survive a little bit longer. Of course, he's got his shield. That's going to help with his glaive. The glaive you can use as a one-handed weapon with the shield. It's a pretty good polearm for this situation, and I can't get over that, man. That is intense. Between these two armies, they have over 1,000 tier 5 and 6 mounted elite skirmisher units. This is going to be hell. And it's going to be one hell of a big battle. It's sort of amazing how this campaign just cranks these out. And of course, with the reinforcement system, you're assured big battles, because even if we somehow tried to fight these Aserai armies in detail one at a time, they would just join as a reinforcement army in the battle. So in we go here. And I got to be honest, my hands feel very unsteady. I'm kind of shaky here with adrenaline, and I'm a little bit nervous, right? Hal, just like any new king, it would be nervous in this situation, facing a doom stack. Now look at that. There's a cliff back there. I'm not sure they can get around. The Aserai want to circle you to throw their javelins in a counterclockwise motion. So it's our job to try to deny them that, right? Just like any other event where like a baseball pitcher's trying to throw pitches by you, you're trying to hit them. You basically counter. If you know what the enemy's trying to do, you have a better chance of countering it. So let's see here. We're going to need a horse archer division. This is going to be a very bloody battle. All of you Patreon supporters, strap yourself in, right? And of course, everybody watching, strap yourself in. This is going to be a gnarly battle. And it's kind of for all the marbles. If we get captured here already, it's going to be very, very difficult to survive. Let's see. We can make an elite first division, a skirmisher division, and a shock troop division, although I don't really know what our armies are going to look like yet. Let's see if we have a crossbow division here. We don't really have elite captains for crossbow, but we have a lot of good archer captains. I like that, right? We've got Henry, we've got Rose, all of these companions that we've been building up. And I think Entho the Black, right? This guy here is going to be in charge of our sharpshooter division. It's 80 or 90% sharpshooters, so those guys can square or charge if they need to. And what we've got to do here is we've got to get up to that river edge as fast as we can and try to jam it up. If we can get those Vanguard Ferris trapped between those two big rock areas, or at least squeezed, and there a lot of them are going to get through, then we have a good chance of sort of stemming the tide of all those javelins. So let's see here. Apologies while I set these companions up. We shouldn't have to do this every battle. In fact, I think we'll just put these archer captains in the 5th. That way I don't have to reset them every battle. We've got a good horse archer captain, right? It's Hal's wife, Yesha, right? She's pregnant. She just gave birth. Good things are happening here for Hal. Let's hope they continue in this battle. I am fucking nervous, fellas. I know it's a fucking video game. This means nothing, but I've done a lot of work to get the campaign to this stage, and you just hope you don't take a spear right up the nostril like some famous kings have done. We're gonna put our visor down, unlike that dipshit king of France. 1500s was jousting, decided he didn't need his fucking visor down. Took a wood shard to the fucking eyeball or something like that and died. We do have a good shock troop division, and that's our biggest hope, is getting our nasty infantry in there, in the river. We've really got to make a press to that river. That way we can stand the enemy up, slow them down. And I think that far left side is going to be very hard, if not impossible, for the enemy to traverse. Of course, we're going to try to make it impossible for them to traverse. A very deep breath here. My hands are still shaking. That's not good. I apologize if the screen is kind of shaking during this battle, but I guess it'll sort of simulate what's at stake, the nervousness of my situation. And almost their entire first wave is all Vanguard Ferris. So batten down the hatches, hold those shields up, and hope they don't break, because it's incoming is the proverbial word of the day here. I think that'll work. We'll have to spread out those archers in a second. Let's jam this right flank here with cavalry. I've got 2 different cav divisions. Hold that line there, 8th. And holy shit, that's a lot of them just pouring over already. But our cavalry's almost arriving in time. Here come the javelins. Holy shit. If they can just buy us 30 seconds there, I think our infantry will get up here. Then we'll have archers and horse archers. I can get horse archers to either flank, and it's going to be effective. Spread out, archers. Okay, that looks good. I'll talk a little bit less maybe in this episode. It might help me play better. Let's get this 2nd division just jammed in a square, right? Or in a shield wall, rather. Just jam there and blocking off that access for the enemy. If the enemy can't get through there, they can't get to these horse archers, right? And those guys can shoot. That's our advantage in this situation, is range. Further range, right? They're short range. Our units have longer range. Here comes our infantry division. Get up here, boys. We need you there in a hurry. And it's just, it is. The whole army, there's like 6 token Fiend champs, and the whole rest of their army is all Vanguard Ferris, which is appropriate. It's a fucking doom stack. I need my shield for this. This is going to be gnarly. I'm just in a huge scrum of cavalry, and there are bolts and javelins flying on both sides. But look how badly we have them jammed up. We've got to get this infantry up here. Let's get these horse archers close, right? Not too close. That way they're getting hit with javelins, but closer. I haven't taken a single shot yet, or nothing really substantial. I'm feeling good. Come on, boys, let's go. It's not good. One of those units, I think, took 150 damage and didn't die. Okay, look at this cavalry causing a traffic jam. The death spam looks good. The arrows are raining in. Of course, we've got like 150, maybe 200 Khans guards. I'm not going to apologize, of course, because these are all we get. Hal's not going to be able to get more. It's not like you can just order them on Amazon, right? The medievalamazon.com. Yeah, about the only thing you could get was spices, and it was very expensive. Shit, they're all trying to throw javelins like right at me. Charge here, infantry. We've got them perfectly in the water. Hit them. Bad, the screen just flushed green as our infantry just scorched them. Get up here, archers. Although I want to reset the 4th and the 5th at some point. I want to move them forward for now. Avoid that shot. Get in there and fight. Now we want to jam up this riverbed. On this side, there's a bit of a ridge there we can use as a reverse slope decline defense. Peekaboo Ridge. Our 8th Corps can come back over here because all of the battle now is concentrated in this river. This river is going to run red with blood. It's going to be just incredibly bloody. So far, so good. Look at that death span. These are fucking Vanguard Ferris just being melted. Attack infantry just bore in there. These guys are penned up. We've just denied them their ability to circle and move. They're attacking our cavalry square. Beautiful. We just got to watch this side. They're sort of trickling over here. We can start to split divisions soon. But I like what I see. Okay. Stay loose. Crossbow, let's move these guys right to the edge of this riverbed. Now, we're a little bit away from the reinforcement position. I'm going to have to keep that in mind. Holy shit, I just took a lot of damage. I went from fine to almost dead. Of course, Hal is still not a warrior. He's a commander. But so far, he's commanding good, right? And the death spam looks amazing. Get over here, infantry. Block that right or left side. Let's get some archers, crossbow right on this shoreline. We're going to have to charge soon with sharpshooters, but that's okay, right? They're perfectly capable of complementing our units here. We've got this side penned off, and where's the enemy going? They can't possibly be routing. They're sure doing weird stuff. I don't know if they're trying to... Let's hold fire here. I think they're trying to get around our flank, but we've got it cut off. And we're not playing at the back of the map. They have the ability to circle us here, but we're using the terrain. We've got some cliffs over there. And I've got a really good defensive position here with the river and an incredibly bloody hill here. That's basically the enemy's bane. We've got a very strong position there. We've got 3 different infantry divisions still. We're looking good. That 8th division is holding our right flank. We can break off some horse archers here. In case they commit, we can loop horse archers to the enemy's left, right? Our right. Because that'll be a really nice angle to fire in kind of on the flank of the enemy. Let's do a little reconnaissance here. I can't tell what's going on, and if they're routing, I can take a deep breath. There's no way they're routing, though. The more I think about it, that was only, I don't know, maybe 800 troops here as reinforcements come in. Hurry up, boys. We need you up here. The enemy, I can see them approaching. Yeah, it looks like they're reforming lines. I see infantry moving up, but you know what I see? I see another 500-something plus Vanguard Ferris. Because the first wave wasn't enough. They've got 500 more elite tier 6 units. Led by elite lords. And after that, of course, then we're going to get to their other troops. Their infantry, their archers, and you know they're going to have tier 6, tier 5 infantry, being champs. This is going to be savage. You guys are already strapped in, I assume. I wonder if any of you actually strap in. You could buy like a seatbelt and put it on your couch or something and strap yourself in. Maybe I overused that term a bit. If there's ever a situation for it, this was it. Here comes another wave. Our troops are banged up. Every guy I see has like 3 javelins or 2 javelins in him and a shield. Shield is covered in javelins. We've got troops that are probably near death. Now, we also have troops that have more than the normal hit points, right? Because Rose has that medicine skill. She's turning into an outstanding commander. I hope she survives. I hope you survive, Rose. Here come their sally to counter our archer. Let's get a horse archer division split off here. They're coming right down the center chute. This is what I was talking about before. Look at that. They're coming right into the fucking wolf's den. If we can get a horse archer... What do we got going on over here? Looks like some cavalry are sneaking in. We can have one division attack and charge. Let's bring another horse archer division, though, to the enemy's left. All right. Shit, 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 shit. We'll hold that shield up. We're charging our back here. Charge here in the center. That flanking is going to have to wait. We're going to have to get bloody here. This is just, you can't command, you can only command only so much while your troops are being mauled. We have sharpshooters and infantry here, and we have a serious advantage of positioning, right? Our units are set up already, flaming everything in sight. We have infantry and sharpshooters going nuts. And their Vanguard Ferris can't really move. We've got so many cavalry here in defensive lines. A lot of their troops, of course, are stuck either in the river or on that massive infantry. And this looks fucking beautiful. Come on, boys. I'm just going to keep cycling that first back and forth. Trying to get killed. I don't know what hit me, but I took like 2/3, 3/4 of my damage in one hit. And, of course, probably, I think I know what I got hit by, right? That's a fucking javelin by a Vanguard Ferris. I mean, and that's with the 10% decreased melee or decreased ranged attack banner, right? I'm sure we put it on, and it still did major damage. But these units have high-end lords, right? So they're firing with all the perks, additional speed, and some of our enemy lords are going to have really high javelin skills as well. And these, okay, those are our guys. That looks good. I think now's our time, right? All this infantry is here. Let's get a savage flank on them here. If we can get maybe, okay, more archers are coming in. If we can get maybe 100 or 125 horse archers over on this flank, look at this angle. This is going to be absolutely beautiful. They're protected by the river from cavalry charges. Let's bring horse archers right here. Let's get heavy cavalry to lead in front of them there. That's a lord right there. Shit. There's one right there, too. Oh, shit. That guy fucking drilled me. Let's see, I want a usable character here. Damn it, give me Rose or Henry. There's, here, I got Henry. Everybody stop. And let's see, charge with this infantry line. Let's break it into a sixth. We're going to have to reform some lines here because the reinforcement system, or not the reinforcement, but the system we're using here combined our fucking units. Fuck, I had a great plan, and I got drilled by a fucking javelin. Well, you don't give up, right? You just keep on fighting here. We have a great position. You just got to take a deep breath. And that looks good. Let's get some troops there. What I want is an infantry division to our left and an infantry division to our right, so that the enemy is staring down the barrel of all these horse archers, etc., and then we can shell them and squeeze the sides. Right? As they charge, we can bring both of those infantry divisions and just squish them like an orange. That's my plan. Now, Henry's got a bow, but he's much better with his sledgehammer. He's got like a legendary sledgehammer or something. Now they've got some infantry here, but I'm just going to hold our position for now. Right? We can do a little bit of skirmishing until the majority of the troops come up. It's hard to see who's who. I think that's ours. When they die, I guess it's theirs. That's a good sign. Get these infantry back in a square. Again, I want that center open for our archers and horse archers to work. And Henry's going to do some work here. It's actually kind of optimal, although I just took a shot. Ryland does the, or not Ryland, I knew I was going to do that eventually. Hal does all the leadership stuff. Now that the battle is engaged in earnest, we launch the warrior, right? In goes stupid Henry with his savage two-handed skills and a huge infantry pinch. And now we just gotta fucking kill all of these heavy-duty Aserai units. He's clubbing units off of horses. The river's already choked with bodies. Let's keep resetting these divisions to the edge of the river there. I want to use this ridge. It's a peekaboo ridge. It's a classic defense structure here. We're very lucky to have obtained it. Now, that's a bad death span, but it's only because we're retreating here. It's temporary. Don't panic. I'm not panicking. Like any of you guys are panicked. You guys are watching panicking. I'm panicked! It's hard to remember it's a game sometimes. It's so fucking visceral. It's so violent. It's so chaotic. I mean, this is beautiful. just fucking clubbing bitches to the ground from the flank. We've got our infantry lines chomping both fucking flanks. Get the fuck out of here, Palsgard. Yeah! It's beautiful. Crush him, Henry. We got stupid Henry. Shields go flying everywhere, and Henry's just laying waste to everything in sight. Oh shit, can't get too cocky. He's got weak armor. Alright, those archers need to be pulled back just a bit. They're getting a little overzealous. I don't want them in the water. We want them on the other side. Color within the lines here, kids. 1st, 6th, we're going to have to keep splitting these. The 1st division is where all the reinforcements go, so I'm going to continue to make these 2 different divisions. That way we can have this center funnel of troops. They are starting to go around though, son of a bitch. We got to counter that. Let's get horse archers initially. We can also line up archers here that are coming in with reinforcements in a long line to help buttress that. Those are archers and infantry coming in on us. Fuck. Where did those troops come from? I don't know. You know what we can do too? We can also put them on ice with heavy cavalry. We can get just a bunch of cavalry right in their face in a big long line here. Now the rest of these units work. I think that's okay for the enemy to be sort of stalled on that flank. Look how fast he swings his hammer. I swung it 4 times before it hit the dude. And this is a recipe here. This is shit's gonna work unless something dramatic changes. We got this shit. No reinforcements. You just pray there's no, Sturgeon forces all of a sudden join. That can happen. I don't think the Sturgeons, I don't think the Sturgeons and Aserai are at war, so they can join the same fucking battle here. And look at this shit. It's carnage, just tier 5 infantry pouring in, and it could not be more beautiful for Hal's first battle with the House of York. Of course, I guess I can get, well, Hal's already dropped, but we could have a bunch of deaths in this battle. I mean, I guess if you get deaths in this battle, it's still beautiful. Right? Let's put a square there, block that fucking wall. No troops getting by. That far side, those guys can advance. And we are blasting this enemy. We've got archers set up across the river. We've got all kinds of Stolderbroda here throwing their throwing weapons. That's beautiful. Of course, we have this minor clan. We've got such a good position here, no reason to move. They've got some troops behind us, but not too many. Oh shit, that's a problem. I see infantry that's charging is way across the other side of the river over there. That's not good, because they're coming in with no protection. Could try to split them. In a situation like this, I think it's actually better to concentrate our forces and just charge. I know it's weird, but I'm advocating F1, F3 right here. We're going to move our archers up sort of intelligently still, but because our troops are so split up, coming across the river at multiple angles, we've got the enemy on the ropes here. Let's try to make a major push here, crush their morale. Famous last words here. We're going to do it smartly. We can break some archer divisions up and buttress our units as they move up. Those guys look good over there. Could block a little bit here with heavy cavalry. A lot of our cavalry's down. They are starting to reform. They've got 600-700 units in the center there. They do look like they're pulling back a long ways. I just want to make sure they don't just bore in on us, right? So we're going to make defensive lines here as our archers move into position. We've got a little bit of horse archers left, some Consguards left, and here you just pray you don't lose 150 Consguards. If you're wondering, of course, this was sort of my plan all along, is for these Khazate armies to come to the raid, come to the rescue here of, oh shit, dude, sorry. Come to the aid of House York. Sorry there, fellas. No one ever accused Henry of being genius here. They're forming a big line up there, but we've got another bit of a ridge to protect. Let's use this ridge here. I would stay at the river if our units weren't so spread out. We're sort of rolling them up, too. The units that are charging are still getting kills. But this was the intent all along, right? Is to fight initially with Vlandian units. I knew it would be difficult, if not impossible, against these ultra-modded Uber units, these incredible Varangians, and the intent was to sort of combine these forces here. Couple 400 Khazate units, of course, they're not going to last forever. Or at least we're not going to have a huge amount of them. And then these Vlandian forces and whatever minor clans we could scrounge together and try to carve out an empire here, right? Try to conquer this incredible Norse invasion. This has been a lot of fun planning this, and of course now we're to the meat and potatoes of this campaign. I know some guys are probably incredulous. Oh shit. The cavalry's pushing up, let's push them back. Those are just horse archers. I know some guys are probably like, what the fuck, man? You've taken 50-something episodes just to get to the meat and potatoes? Well, of course, this campaign has been full of chaos and carnage. This is... Oh shit. Well, sometimes when battles are so bloody like that, you don't even realize that they're over. Of course, no power bar, right? So we're kind of in the dark here, and I've gotten very disciplined lately, and I'm not really looking at it. I can tell you, though, a lot of troops just routed, so the power bar really wouldn't have been very indicative of that. And no deaths. That is mind-blowing to me. I mean, we've had deaths against 600 enemies, and we don't have any against 3,000 plus. And serious losses here, right? All kinds of injured and wounded and stuff like that. Where's, let's see, I want to see what Henry did. Of course, we used Henry. We'll try to show you guys how the companions do, especially you guys that are supporting the channel through the Patreon. We'll try to support and show your characters most, if not every battle. Henry did some good work. Not surprisingly, his tactics went up, right? We're doing all kinds of commands with his tactics. That seems very appropriate. And what an amazing first battle here for Hal and his return to House York. And no rest for the weary, right? This campaign is going to be a hectic and chaotic affair. As the Sturgeon forces, of course, are boring in hard up north. They're obviously making their way to towards, well, Ox Hall maybe next, right? Carbantzith is going to fall. They already took Dunglannis. We're going to have to try to figure out some way to handle a multi-front war in this campaign, even if that means financially. Now, I can tell you on a role-playing level, there will be permanent war against these bitches, these Aserai. We are saying that Wazuban has completely lost his mind with rage, doesn't understand how the Baron is not dead, doesn't understand how House York is making this resurgence, and there will be permanent war against this incredibly potent Aserai force. And how ominous is that indeed? Because we know there's an army of over 3,000 that we saw maybe 2 days ago at Legetta when Hal came by with his army. So this campaign is in the gnarly stage, folks. I've been promising you this shit for a long time, and I'm an older fella. I learned very early on in life, you under-promise and over-deliver. You don't under-promise or you don't over-promise and under-deliver. I hope you guys are satisfied with this epic Vlandian campaign, as indeed we have these 4 kingdoms here. I'll cover character companions more maybe at the end of an episode or 2 from now, but it seems like the wrong time to do it right now, right? Let's exit this episode right here. Hal heading north. He's going to meet up with his mom. He hasn't seen his mother in a very long time. And this campaign is about to be ignited on fire. Hopefully you guys are thrilled. Hopefully you guys are excited. I don't know how many episodes there are going to be. That's the beauty of it. But hopefully you guys are strapped in and ready for a good time. I appreciate all the support. Please subscribe at this stage if you want to see more. If you hit notify, you'll know when new episodes come out. Please hit that like button when you X out the video, or before, I guess. And with all that said, Hal and I, and all the other friends of the House of York, will see you next time.